So, you have a lot of documents. The PDFs and image files just keep pouring in, and you spend so much of your day just extracting key information from one document after the other into your spreadsheet system. And you think to yourself, the year is 2024. Surely there must be some new AI tool that could automate this better for me. And the answer is yes, there is. And today I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to be using Power Automate with its connector to Cradle AI in order to extract data from your PDFs and image files straight into your Excel spreadsheet. Cradle AI is a state-of-the-art data extraction tool that is really user-friendly. It's really powerful. It has a pre-built connector to Power Automate. So if you've ever created a Power Automate flow before, this tutorial will be a piece of cake to you. Now we're going to have a quick sneak peek at what we're making, and then we'll jump straight into building the flow. So we're using invoices as our document types, and whenever Cradle AI receives your documents, it's going to automatically start extracting the data that you define that you want from your documents, and it's going to assign a confidence score to every extracted results. If it's confident that it got it right, it will automatically export it into Excel for you. If not, it's going to wait for you to validate the result and then send it into Excel. Looks neat, right? Well, let's start building it. Okay, so before we configure our actual flow in Power Automate, we want to create our export destination, our Excel sheet. And I'm using OneDrive for that, but you can use any file management system that has a Power Automate integration. So I'm going to go ahead and create an empty Excel sheet. And what you want to do is that you want to take a look at your documents and you want to find the data that you want to extract from it. So in my case, that's supplier, invoice ID, invoice date, the due date of the invoice, the VAT amount, and I also want the total amount. So you want to have that as your top row labels, and then you want to select all of them. And then you want to format them as a table and make sure that my table has header is checked. And that's it. Your Excel sheet is now ready to receive the extracted data. Our next step is to create the AI model that will actually pull that data out of your documents. So we're going to go over to Cradle AI to do that. Okay, I'm now inside Cradle AI. You can find the URL to the website in the description. Cradle AI is it has a free tier and it's a very user-friendly alternative to AI Builder. It has some advantages compared to AI Builder because it's specifically made for data extraction. So you have some really important things out of the box, such as a validation studio, for example. And it's just very quick to get set up with, and it integrates just as easily with Power Automate. So go ahead and complete the sign-up process with a free account, and then you should be seeing the same screen as me. So we're going to go and create a new model. We're just going to clone a model in this tutorial. We don't want to train our own from scratch. And we're going to get rid of the fields we don't need. I didn't need IBAN or line items, but I do want supplier name, invoice ID, invoice date. Yeah, pretty much the fields that we, or exactly the fields that we created in our Excel sheet. Now, if you want to use a custom model, not an invoice model, that's totally fine. I'm going to have a link up in this video to where you can check out another tutorial that goes more into depth on creating your own custom model. But we just need to clone an invoice model and we'll be ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and create, and that's going to set up our model for us. And that's everything we need to do here in Cradle. Now we're going to go over to Power Automate. All right, we're finally in Power Automate and ready to set up our flow. We're going to start by creating a new flow, and we're going to do an instant cloud flow that triggers when an HTTP request is received. And then we're going to go ahead and add our action, and I'm using the Excel business version of the connector. You can use the private as well. Add row into table, And then you want to select your folders and locations so that you find the file that you just created, like so. And then choose the table you want to write things into. And now you can show all the fields that we're gonna populate soon with our Cradl fields. We're gonna put them inside there so that the extracted supplier field in Cradl will correspond to the supplier field in our Excel sheet. And that's pretty much our Excel connections set up. And now we're gonna set up our connection to Cradl AI inside Power Automate. And that's the final step before we're ready to actually run our project. Okay, I'm back into Cradl. Earlier, we set up our AI model. Now we're going to set up our export destination, which will be Power Automate, of course. So on the Export tab, you choose Power Automate as your integration. You click Setup. And the first thing we want to do is that we want to copy the JSON schema and paste that into our trigger in Power Automate, because that's going to give us some predefined values, which will help us out a lot later. And now you see the HTTP URL. You want to copy that and go back into Cradl and paste it as our webhook. That's the URL that will enable us to send the data back into Power Automate. So save that. And then we're going to go back into our add row into table. And now we're going to set up the connection between our Excel sheets and the extracted data. So the JSON schema will give you the predefined values that you want to put into them. So invoice ID goes into invoice ID, invoice date goes into invoice date, and so on. So go ahead and do that for your own documents as well. All right, total amount, and now save your flow. And your flow is now complete. You are now ready to run it. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, we're now going to trigger our flow. And there are several ways you could trigger the flow you just created with me. But we're going to go for a very simple manual upload in this tutorial, and then we can explore other ways later, such as email attachment, something like that. So inside Cradl, we can trigger the flow by clicking on Run and upload some invoices. So wait for them to upload, hit Run Model, and that's gonna get the AI model going. It's gonna start processing the documents, and once that's done, it's gonna give us a snapshot of what it was able to extract. And everything looks good here. You can see the green marks on your actual PDF corresponds to the fields, the input fields on the right, which is very handy to see where your data was extracted from. The other document also looks good. So what we're going to do is going to head over to the validator. And what happens in the validator is that when you click the validate button, hang on, I'm going to get rid of myself, this button down there, that's going to actually trigger the export into Power Automate. So if you need, if there was any errors in this document, you would be required to correct that error before the export happens. So you don't have to worry about making corrections inside Power Automate. You can handle all of that logic inside Cradl. So you're going to validate that. And now our Excel sheet should have that data. And here we go. Our Excel sheet has the data from our PDFs. We have successfully extracted data from 2 PDF invoices into Excel by using Power Automate to connect Cradl AI with Excel.